The Yin and Yang and the English language. This is the Yin and the Yang, and it is the most excellent way to get a feel for the way English actually works. We'll begin by looking at the shape of English grammar, and we know every word, for example, eat, can be a noun, and every noun can be countable. This one's quite common. People say, let's get some eats. And there's a kind of free and easiness about it, but it's very, very common. It's just the way of English. If you want eat to be a noun, it can be. And every word can be also an uncountable noun, like eat, which is not so commonly used. There's a nice example in Catch 22. "Gimme eat," I said, he ordered loudly. "Give him eat! Give everybody eat!" It can happen. That's the important thing to note, is that it can happen, even if it doesn't happen very often. And every word can be a verb, and there's an S. And we usually call these the present and the past simple, which is sort of okay, because it is just a simple word. And then we have the participles. Eat, ate, eaten. Now please note, eaten, the participle, is not part of the verb. Nearly always when people learn English, they learn do, did, done, go, went, gone. These three together. But properly, the participles are not part of the verb. They're something different. They partake of the verb. And traditionally we call them the past participle and the present participle, or the gerund. We take the word dance and a poem. Yeats. "O body swayed to music, O brightening glance, how can we know the dancer from the dance?" And we take two sentences. Now, in traditional grammar, we will analyze the sentence. In the first one, we would say over here, the verb, I like dancing. The verb is to like. The tense, we would say, is present simple. I like dancing. Dancing, in this sentence, we would say is an object. And we might call it a gerund. In the next sentence, I am dancing. Now we would say the verb is to dance. And the tense now is present continuous. Or present progressive. And am dancing, we would now analyze as what we would say am is an auxiliary, which we are usually told means help. But the etymology actually is more like make greater. That's quite interesting. And dancing, we would say now, is a present participle. This is the traditional way to look at the grammar here. Now, it reminds me a little of the way of looking at the universe. And in the old days, we had the geocentric picture of the universe, with the Earth in the center and everything going around the Earth. And this is just like looking at English through traditional grammar. And in a way, it's not wrong. In a way, it has its beauty. And like from the Earth, if we trace the movements of the planets, they look like this. Or another way to look at the same thing is to put the sun in the middle, and it looks clearer. And we really can do this with English. When we take these sentences, I like dancing, I am dancing, the traditional grammar isn't the truth, it's just one way of looking at it. And I think an equally beautiful, nicer way to look at it is it's the same thing. I like dancing, and when I'm doing it, I actually am dancing. And I think that's what Yeats is saying here. How can we know the dancer from the dance? We can't take them apart. When we say she is dancing, it's a fine thing to say. She is a dancer. She is dancing itself. And so that's the participles, which are exactly like the yin and the yang. Please note it's dynamic, so it can be either way round. It's supposed to be in motion. But we have the yin and the yang, and they feel exactly like those participles. What is the yin and the yang? Obviously, well, not obviously, but I can't tell you. It's not reducible to simple what it is, but we can all feel it. It's part of the universe. It's like the day and the night, the male and the female, the earth and the sky, the fire and the water. We can see it everywhere. This is something to do with atoms that looks like the yin and the yang. We see it in the polarity. It's all one. It's two and it's one. And it's one and it's a harmony, and there's one in one and one in the other. It's seen as a kind of good and bad, but it's not that. That's maybe part of it, but it's not that. Here we have some old pictures of the yin and the yang, and we see they emphasize much more the swirl, the movement. So, eaten and eating. A nice pair of participles because they have a unique form. Now what we can do is put each of these participles into an image search, and we'll see that the images that come up are just like the same as the yin and yang people say. For instance, the yin. We're just going to start with the yin on the right. Negative, moon, dark, earth, passive, water, below, cold, growth. It's not bad, but there is negativity there. Interesting, the word passive, eaten. It's the same word the grammarians use. Pizza is eaten all over the world. It was eaten. So, eaten. Here we go, straight away. Now, these images are pretty much just the first ones that came up. North or be eaten. Where the weak are killed and eaten. The day Lewis got eaten. It's so interesting how it's exactly what it was saying. The earth, the passive. Now this looks quite bright, but must fruit be eaten on an empty stomach? The tone of it seems to conflict a little. Pie I have eaten. And I think the so-called perfect aspect of English absolutely makes sense. I have eaten that pie. That pie is eaten. It was eaten. Eaten alive. Dark, earthy every time. Eaten alive, trespassers will be eaten. The rabbit, don't get eaten by anything. Don't get eaten. And now, if we put eating, well, it'll be exactly like the yin and yang people say. Positive, sun, light, heaven, active, fire above, heat, generation. And again, interesting, the word active, that is the same word the grammarians use. I am eating. Eating, here we go. Immediately, the sun's shining. Everybody's smiling. It's happy. She's eating. He's eating. Oh, flesh-eating mothers. Well, this looks a bit negative, but then again, it's a horror movie, but it's a comedy horror movie. And there's the thing about there's always some yin in the yang, so the theory holds. Eating is one of my favourite parts of the day. And we see, yes, it's not part of the verb. If anything, it feels exactly like a thing. And there must be some connection now with the word thing being a thing, a noun, and eating. She's eating. He's eating watermelon like a boss. Now, we'll continue with the English grammar. I am going to the theatre. Traditionally, we would say that this is present continuous. Now, please note, there is not much information about time in the form of the words, which tense is a small part of English. But we do feel the power of the yang. Now, this could mean I'm going to the theatre right now. Oh, I'm sorry, goodbye, I'm going to the theatre. Or it could mean in the future. And both of these feel like the yang, the living moment that we're in, that feels alive and full of ing. And the future feels also like the yang. I feel that the future's bright. It could mean in general around now. I'm going to the theatre too much these days. I'm going every week. I'm going 4 times a week. It's too much. And again, it's not really about time, but it still has the feeling, the energy of the ing. If we, I was going to the theatre. Well, so-called past continuous. Fair enough. And it could mean right then, but again, the difference really is if we say I was doing it. We create the feeling of the yang, the living, shining moment. I was going to the theatre. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. It could equally mean the same in the future, in the past, or in general around then, but the constant is just the ing feeling. Not so much information about time, but just an emotional feeling. 2 sentences. I love it. I'm loving it. We would say present simple, present continuous. And sometimes they'd tell us the second one, I'm loving it, is not correct. And a word like love should not be in an action form. But of course, they're both correct. They're both correct. They're both fine, but they feel different. Often we just use the simple word. I love it. I love that. But there are times like, I'm loving it. Like you can understand advertising people know what they're doing. They give the words these energy. It's very natural to put it in there. I'm loving you. So the ing is always bright, and the yin, well, it's not bad or anything, it's part of everything, but the yin undeniably has a negativity, a yinness. Right, let's take the word drunk. We see it has 2 meanings. Beer is drunk in Germany. And here, Winston, you are drunk. And it has the like a very strong adjective. And sometimes people say, interestingly, the word with the most synonyms is drunk. And it's true. There absolutely are a lot of synonyms for drunk. But we notice, well, the reason is because they're all past participles or yin participles. And the way English works, you can put any word into the grammar, and a yin participle will come out clearly marked with its ed and its real verb. I got plastered. And for a native English speaker, they will commonly invent expressions for drunkenness. Oh, Dave got absolutely wally-bladdered last night, and it totally carries the meaning. And also a negativity that carries across everything, the idea, broken. Her phone's broken. But we'll notice, again, any word, anything going through the... Oh, my phone got absolutely splabbered in the washing machine. We'll go. Fixing a broken phone. You see the yin and the yang always there in the language. And so that's it. In English, every word can be a countable and uncountable noun. Every word can be a verb, and every word has its yin and its yang. The yin and yang and the English language. Thank you very much.